In this video, we are going to take a look at getting started with Notion. We'll take a look at the overall interface, and then we'll take a look at how you can use some of the features inside of Notion using this quick start guide that they present to you when you first sign up with a new account. So as you will see, this is the main Notion dashboard. On the left is our sidebar, and here we have a couple of options. At the top, you can see that we have our username, and if we click on the arrow next to that, it will bring down a drop-down menu. Here you can see the username, you can see what plan this user has and how many members are in this plan. There's an option to click on the settings and invite other members. And then below that, you can see where you can actually select different user accounts. Because we only have the one account, John Smith at theproductivity.co, that is the only one we can select, but you can actually add in multiple accounts and then you can select them easily here without having to re-log in every time. You can also create a work account, add another account, and log out in this section. And then you can also get the app for either Mac or Windows, depending on what system you're on. Because I'm on a Mac, it offers the Mac application. Next to that, we have these arrows, and if we click on that, it will actually collapse the sidebar. Now, as long as we are moving around or actively working, it will stay hovered, but the minute that we go over into the editor area, that sidebar will go away. And this just presents a nice, easier, cleaner layout for us to do any editing that we need to. To get that back, we can just go up to this menu option, and you'll see that we'll turn to arrows. And when I click on that, it will actually make that sidebar sticky again and stay on the left-hand side. To the right of that is a create a new page button. Pages are one of the main things that you'll be creating in Notion, and so this is a quick, easy way to instantly create a page. Below that, we have some other options. We can search everything inside of Notion. We can use the Notion AI. We can go to our home, and we can check an inbox of any updates and notifications that we have. Below that is the pages section, and you'll see that we have a getting started page, a weekly to-do list page, and a monthly budget page. These are set to private, and anytime you have any public, shared, or private pages, they will show up in this area, and we don't see the other ones now, but if I were to get a page from someone who is sharing it with me, I would actually see the page here under a separate shared section. Below that, we have a calendar, a place for our settings, templates we can view, our trash, and a help section. And then at the very bottom, you can see we can invite other members into this workspace. Sometimes this changes. It might look different depending on when you're watching this video. On the right-hand side, we have our editor. At the top left, you can see it says Getting Started, and that is the name of the page. So that name is reflected in three different places. It is on the sidebar where it says Getting Started and shows our page name. It's at the top here. And it is the big bold text in the main editor area, which this becomes the page name, whatever you type into this area here. So if we were to add anything to this, you can see that that will change in those other spots too. We'll take a look at this section in just a moment, but in the top right-hand corner, you can see the last time the document was edited and by who. There is a button to share. You can share this with others or publish it to the web. You can view comments. If anyone is leaving comments for you, this is where you would view those. You can see any updates to the page that you're on. You can add this page to your favorites. That is another section of the sidebar that will populate whenever you add favorites. So if I click on this, you will see that a new section in the sidebar has been added called Favorites, and the Getting Started page has been added to that favorite section. And then finally, we have this menu on the right. If we click on this, it's going to give us a lot of page options. So we can change the text, the font, if we want the page to be full width or not, and we can just customize and do other things with the pages inside of these page options. In the main section is where you will actually be working on your pages. You can see whenever we hover over this section, if I hover off and then come back in, we have some options that pop up at the top in some light gray coloring. One is to add an icon to this page. One is to add a cover and add a comment. An icon will populate the page, and it will also be the icons that you see on the sidebar whenever you are creating different pages. A cover is an image that will be presented at the top, and it's used in many different things, such as if you're using it in databases and whatnot, but it's just to give you an image at the top and in other places of your page. And then finally, we can leave comments on this page. Below that, we have our main page name. This cannot be edited or changed other than just typing in what you want the page name to be, but it has no formatting options. Below that is where we can actually start editing information inside of Notion. So you can see here we have this, what we call a block inside of Notion. Everything is made up of blocks, and this is a text block, and it has an emoji, and that says welcome to Notion. And if I highlight that, you can see some options pop up depending on what type of block we are working with. So because this is a text block, it gives us text options such as formatting and bold, italicize, underline, and so forth. It also gives us a plus sign and a menu next to this. The plus sign will allow us to add a block below this one. So if I click on that, it will actually add another block and then ask us what type of block we want to put in. We can select a text block, and then we can just write something. This becomes a text block, and you can see now we have a plus button where we can add another block below this. If we click on the 6 dots next to the left of the block, we can click and drag, and when we do, we can see some blue lines appearing, which means we can actually reorder these blocks in different ways inside of Notion. If you click on those, it's going to give you options for the actual block. So here we can comment and suggest, we can ask AI for help, we can delete this block, duplicate it, we can turn it into another type of block, we can copy the link to this block, we can move it, and we can change the color. We can also see at the bottom that it was edited by John Smith today at 1:55. So we're going to go ahead and just click delete, and you'll see that that whole block has gone away. All that text has disappeared because it is a block itself, not just text. And everything inside of Notion is a block, and you'll come to learn that as you begin using it. So here are some basics that we're going to follow along with just so you can see how everything works. So here it says click anywhere and just start typing. So we can click down here at the bottom and we can start typing something. And you can see that that is one of the checkboxes here. So we'll check that off. And that just goes to show you that anywhere inside of Notion, you can begin typing information in. So we're going to hit the enter. And then it's going to say, hit the backslash to see all the types of content you can add, such as headers, videos, subpages, and so on. So if we hit the backslash button, that is the main shortcut that you are going to use inside of Notion. And this allows us to add different blocks. So you can see we have text blocks, pages, to-do list, headings. We have tables, lists, quotes, dividers, all kinds of different things. And then there's media such as images, video, audio, code, and files. We can create databases, which we'll learn a lot about because they're very powerful inside of Notion. We have AI blocks. We have advanced blocks that we can put in here. We have inline and embeds, and there are a lot of different applications that you can embed inside of Notion, giving you a lot of different functionality. So I'm just going to go up to the top here, and let's say that we wanted to add one of these to-dos. We could click on the to-do list, and when we do, it changes the block into a checkbox that you can click, and we can create a to-do here. Oops. And then we can click on that checkbox and mark them on or off. And again, because this is a block itself, we can do the same things before, such as dragging this and reordering it, or we can click on that menu and delete it and so forth. So we'll go ahead and check that off. Next, it says highlight any text and use the menu that pops up to style your writing however you like. So we can click on this text and highlight that we typed here, and it's just saying that we can style this. So we can make it bold, italicized, underline, and so forth. We also have some other coloring options. So if you click on this A over here, you'll see that we can change the colors. Now, Notion gives you a set of colors that you have to use. There are some workarounds, but for all intents and purposes, these are the colors that you are pretty much stuck with that you will need to use. And we have a text color, so we can change the actual color of the text itself. So if I click out of there, you can see it is now bold, underline, and blue. Or you can change the background color. So we can actually give this a background color, say yellow. Might be kind of hard to see on your screen, but now that text actually has a yellow background and it is formatted. So you can click on all this and you can change it. So there's also options to make it code. So you can click on this mark as code, and now it will act as if you're typing in a coded language. So we'll go ahead and check that one off. And it says, see the 6 dots to the left of this checkbox on hover, click and drag to move this line. Now, I showed you this before, but we can basically click on this and we can drag this above or below any other blocks that we have here. So we'll just move this one, say up here, and then we can check it off. Click new page at the top of your sidebar to add a new page. So that's that shortcut button that we talked about earlier. So we can just click on this. And when we do, it creates a new page. It is temporarily called new page on the sidebar and in the gray, but we want to call this whatever we'd like. So we'll just say, this is our new page. And whenever we create that new page, you can see again that that name of that page is shown at the top left and on our sidebar. So to get back to our getting started document, we can just go ahead and click on getting started page here on the sidebar and it will take us back. Now we can click this and check it off. Next, it says click calendar in your sidebar to manage your time and work together. Notion's calendar app is integrated and synced with all your Google Calendar events. So we can click on the calendar button on the sidebar over here on the left. When you click on that button, you'll be given the option to go ahead and open up Notion Calendar, but first you will need to sync it with your Google Calendar. So if you already use Notion Calendar, which I'm assuming you're not at this point, you can click this option here. I already use Notion Calendar, or you can click on continue with Google, and this will log you into your Google account, and then you can start syncing your calendar with the Notion Calendar. We're not going to get deep into the Notion Calendar in this video, as we already have resources on that information that you can view. So I'll click out of there and we'll check that one off. And then it says highlight Alan Kay's name and ask AI to explain who Notion's favorite scientist is. So we'll go ahead and highlight Alan Kay's name. And there's a button here to ask AI. And if we click on that, we could go ahead and we can type in explain who Notion's favorite scientist is. Now, however, we do not have the AI add-on at this time, and so it's not going to give us any answers. But if you wanted to go ahead and sign up, you could click the get the Notion AI add-on, and then that will give you an unlimited number of responses that you can use AI for inside of Notion. So we'll check that off. And this says click templates in your sidebar to get started with pre-built pages. So over here on the sidebar is a area called templates. We'll click on that. And then this is where we can search for all kinds of great templates inside of Notion. So if we go down, you can see there are habit trackers and goal trackers and movie trackers and all kinds of different templates that you can click on and import directly into Notion. So whenever you click on one, you'll see that this add button is here. We can click on that and it will go ahead and it will add that template directly inside of your Notion. So now you can see it has populated in the sidebar. So if we click on that personal finance, we have now added that template directly into our Notion account and we can begin using it immediately. This is one of the benefits of using Notion, or these templates that have been pre-made so that you can quickly begin working on what you need to instead of having to build everything from scratch. So we'll go back to our getting started area. We'll check that off. Okay, and then finally below that it says this is a toggle block. Click the little triangle to see a few useful links. So if we click on this toggle block here, you can see there's Notion links for templates, for their help section, for their guides, and for easy access to the calendar. So that is how you get started with Notion. Before we end, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the 2 pages that we brought in here. The first one is the one that we created. This is our page. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the 3 dots next to the page name inside of the sidebar. And then I can go down and I can click on move to trash. And then we'll also go ahead and just delete the personal finance tracker, as I'm not going to use that at this time. So that is how you get started with Notion.